Hello everyone, welcome to the official press conference reaction plus all your latest news surrounding Manchester United. We've got Chive and Sam alongside me to pick the bones of this press conference and all the kind of glaring news at the moment. So if you're just joining, make sure you get your comments in, smash a like on the video as we dive in to the quotes very, very shortly. I just want to quickly discuss the bits of news, lads. I'll go to Garnacho first because that's came out in the past couple of hours. That apparently the FA have decided not to suspend Alejandro Garnacho for his use of emojis on Instagram. I think it was in reference to Onana and Maguire's performance. Apparently, is what was written down. Is this the right decision, Chive?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a non-issue from the very start. Like it didn't need any further investigation. Like Onana pretty much cleared it out almost immediately, like when it came out, like on the same day or a day after, I think.
Mm.
We're talking about the gorilla thing, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Onana cleared it up very quickly. It was a non-issue, but I think this kind of highlights. I don't know if they're just afraid now, and they're just afraid of being accused, or the FA of not taking action, and then they just want to overdo things. It shouldn't have been an issue in the first place. This goes back to the Cavani thing. So I think if you're doing it, if you look at intent and the context of when some of these things happen, it's clear to see that there was nothing offensive meant. So yeah, it's a non-issue, and I hope everyone can just forget about it, really.
I think it was a slight bit of like, not naivety, I don't know what the correct word is, from Garnacho though, and the fact that it's just like, you can kind of put two and two together, you can look at it and think, I know he probably obviously means well, but you think about the actions after it and you'd be like, yeah, maybe don't put that, but I suppose he's learning, you can kind of
It's
learn.
our society. It's our society. That's the way British society is, and maybe some other places in the West where we're a little bit more sensitive to these kind of things. But it was done innocently. There was no offense or anything, So
yeah. Just focusing on Garnacho specifically, Sam. Has he done enough for you now? Because obviously you wasn't on the preview yesterday, was you? Has he done enough now to get a string of games, do you think, going forward?
I mean, he's done slightly better than Rashford. And that isn't saying much, is it really? Like, Rashford's been terrible and he's done slightly better. So I'd be willing to give anybody else except Rashford a shot on that left-hand side. So if it is Garnacho, I don't know how many game Rashford's played has he started every game, Rashford?
I think so, yeah, apart from the last one, because obviously he was injured for Fulham, wasn't he?
So why not give Garnacho a run of 5, 6, 7 games, see what he's got? Like, because that's what Rashford got, and he was stinking the joint up and not contributing.
Does he need that to perform, do you think, that run, rather than coming in just starting cold and then going back on the bench?
I think it's just at the minute, Chivy's been calling it for like a couple of weeks now. Like, we need changes. We need something to be different because the same thing isn't working. Playing Rashford, Bruno, Anthony isn't working. Like, we're not creating chances. We're not scoring goals. They're not doing enough for the team. So change something. Put Mount on the right. Put Palestri there. Put Garnacho. Like, do something just to change things up, just so the manager can say, look, I know this isn't working. I'm trying to change it. I'm trying to get a reaction. I'm trying to do different things. So just do something, I think, would be a start. I think Garnacho's got the talent and the ability. Has he got the consistency and the ability to put it together starting? You won't know until you do it. He seems good off the bench and stuff like that, but yeah, you don't know until you give him the time. So let's see what he's got. On the emoji thing, again, I think Chivy's right. I think people have got to stop reacting to things if, one, there's no intent behind it. Like, because clearly he wasn't trying to be insulting towards Onana. Like, I don't think that was the case. But also, he, as a young lad, he's going to probably not think about the culture and the audience that it's going to go out to. He just wants to celebrate with his teammate and give him a compliment of being like a proud, strong, guy, so he's probably not thinking about the culture and the society and the way audiences react to stuff like we clearly do because we're in this industry, and the way a lot of Westerners will react to it. Like if he would have done that in South America, nothing would be said. I imagine if he did it in Cameroon, I don't think anything would be said. So it's just a result of this, and it's a bit weird, isn't it? Because I get the reference that putting an ape or monkey next to a black person it immediately puts thoughts in your head, doesn't it? This immediate, the racism taunts that Vinicius Jr. gets, for example, or something like that. That's what you think of. But in it sort of really strange and weird how, like, a silverback gorilla is a powerful, a proud animal, beautiful animal, like something to be revered and sort of honoured and stuff like that. You can't even compare his teammate to that just because a bunch of racist dickheads have ruined any sort of connotation towards monkeys and apes. It's just, it's a bizarre situation, man. And I get why people feel that way, but I just think it's been overblown. It's been too much. Yeah,
it's the kind of the product society in it at the moment. It's going more and more woke. Is woke the correct word to use? I don't know.
Yeah, woke.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to move on for that slightly. Of course, the press conference is ongoing at the moment, and they've been speaking about, Ten Hag's been speaking about Anthony and Rashford, so we'll dive into them quite shortly. But you mentioned change there, Sam, and I want to speak to Chivy about this because James from the Muppeteers had put on Twitter previously, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is expected to be announced very soon. Him and Ineos are expected to put forward a substantial commitment to improving Manchester United facilities, and it's likely their manner of operation in the transfer market will change, pivoting away from United's much criticised transfer strategy of the post Alex Ferguson and David Gill years. And look, we've spoken about this so many fucking times. Like it needs to happen. It's obviously something that does. But them two appointments specifically, are they the ones you would have gone for? Or are you not really asked on who it is specifically, more to the point that they are an expert in that field?
You mean Paul Mitchell and John
Claude, something.
Blanc.
I can't remember.
John Claude Blanc.
Yeah.
I like his name. He's got a really cool name. Right?
Yeah, it sounds professional, doesn't it?
Yeah. He just sounds. Paul Mitchell, yes, we're all familiar with him in England. What he's done with Southampton, with Tottenham. The Jean-Claude guy, I don't really know that much about him, but a quick read when I saw that thing, and I know he was CEO for Juventus, and he was the chief marketing officer at PSG as well. In comparison to what we have now, that's miles different, because before Manchester United, like, none of those guys had any experience in handling any football thing ever. I mean, the closest we came to was hiring the events guy from Everton. Do you remember that?
Oh, Biscuit Man.
Yeah.
Biscuit
Yeah,
Man.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, when they announced it, someone from Everton, and I was like, cool, someone with some football knowledge. And it was like, no, he's not here to do anything related to
What are you
football.
ordering, like mini buses and hotels and shit like that?
Exactly. He's here to do admin stuff.
He's basically the friend who doesn't get pissed at a gathering. That's what he was
designated
doing.
driver.
Our designated driver, basically, and I was like, fucking hell, like, come on.
Yeah.
Just get someone. But yeah, it sounds promising. I can't claim to know the French guy too well, but it sounds promising. It sounds like someone who has worked in two big teams. Well, Juventus is a big team. He would have had to deal with people like what's his name, the former CEO at Juventus. I forgot his name, Moratti or something, whatever his name is. Yeah, he's had to deal with people who's rubbed shoulders with some of the people in football. He's got contacts, experience, French in Italy. He would know how to do things. So, I don't know too much about him, but I'm really, really happy with what we have now, because I don't see people like that being messed about by agents, by other clubs, managers taking the piss out of them. They will command a certain level of respect. And obviously the way we'll approach things like transfers, the way we'll approach contracts given to players, the way we'll approach wages, things like that, all of that hopefully will change. And I'm just over the moon, because you guys know very well by now, and I've not made it a secret. Like, I'm not crazy about having big sums of money just thrown at the club. I want us to have a structural change first and foremost, because I strongly believe, like I've said this thousands of times, that once the football gets better, everything else comes with it. And I'm not fussed about having, the massive sugar daddy with lots of money and all that. Like, that would be nice. It'll make things move quicker. But I want us to focus, because we've lost track of everything. We've lost track of football, and that's the main thing. That's our bread and butter. And I've seen it happen to so many clubs before. Tottenham probably have one of the best stadiums in English football now. You're trying to tell me Daniel Levy has half the amount of money that Sheikh Jassim has? No. But their football was gradually getting better. They were maintaining Champions League positions all the time. They were able to get investment. That's how you do things. And I want us to do it the correct way. We've been spending money stupidly, like idiots. I want us to do this the right. That's why I envy Liverpool so much, because they've done it the right way without, overspending and all that kind of crap. So yeah, this is welcome news to me. I'm really, really happy about that.
It's like Simon Davis says there in the chat, box clever. Absolutely. If we can do it, I think we're going to have to do that. In fairness, kind of investment that's going on. I'm not sure how much. It's so complicated for me, because you don't know how much Sir Jim's going to put in. Is it his own wealth? Is it, where's it coming from? Is it going to be paid back? Is the debt still on the club? Like, a lot of questions for me, but I'm sure once it actually gets announced officially, which it doesn't seem too far away from, I'm sure we'll get much more kind of clarity on that situation. Samuel, what do you call him now, Chivy? Samuel Butthurt, is it? Samuel Luckhurst? I can't remember. Butter, that's it. Samuel Butter. We're getting named for all the journalists at the moment.
Hey, we've got to give him credit. He's put out a positive story about us here. Like, that's a positive story.
Which one is it? Because the one I've got, I don't know if it's... Well, it says Sir Jim Ratcliffe has held virtual meetings with Joel Glazer about possible structure changes. I
was talking about that Murtough and Arnold's jobs are on the line if he comes in.
Right.
That's a positive story for Blockers.
It's a positive for fans, but in terms of the actual story in itself, it's relatively... I don't know. It depends how you interpret it, I suppose. But do you think with these discussions ongoing, Sam, do you think this means that the agreement, if this, if, let's say it gets announced tomorrow, would you then be led to believe that Sir Jim will eventually take over if it gets done?
I think he's going to have certain sort of things in place that guarantees that eventually he gets control of the entire club. I don't think a guy who is he Britain's richest man? Or is he second? I don't think a guy who is Britain's second richest man is going to go into a deal with no assurances that he gets full control. Like, he's not going to do that. Like, every club he's got into, he's gone in and bought portions and he's essentially got control eventually. Mm-hmm. And he's no way he's going to the Glazers and the Glazers are, maybe you'll get it at some point. No, he's going to want guarantees that within a certain time period, he's able to buy the majority shares and take full control. He has to have that. If he doesn't, he's an idiot. And I don't think he is an idiot. I think he's a smart guy. Political leanings aside and Brexit voting aside, he's a smart guy. So I think he will have those assurances, and he clearly wants to get the sport in control immediately, because there's these things with Paul Mitchell and Jean-Claude Blanc being involved as directors and stuff. So he clearly wants that, because he knows, like Chivy has said, if we are successful on the pitch, the revenue for the commercial side and everything else goes up. So it all follows.
That's a big if, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but the way we've been doing it isn't working, is it? Like, the way we're doing it is not working. Like, no club in the world was giving Jadon Sancho 375k a week, is he on? 350?
Close to that, yeah, 350.
No club's doing that. City aren't doing that. Chelsea aren't doing that. Like, no club's doing that. But we did. And then same with Martial. Like, there's different players where we've just offered insane contracts and then we can't get rid of them, which means we can't refresh the squad, we can't rebuild, and we have to make do with the same shit because we've overspent and we've got the wages, which means we've got the financial fair play to go out and buy play. Like Chivy said, we don't need to spend an absolute shit ton of money. We need to be smart with our money. Brighton do it, Liverpool do it, Arsenal do it. All these teams around us do it. They spend smartly, they don't spend a shit ton of money, and they're successful relative to a point. but they're successful. We could do the same thing, but we have to have the right people in charge. And John Murtough and Richard Arnold aren't those guys. Paul Mitchell, John Claude Blanc, on paper and in the history that they have at different clubs that they worked out, have that success and have that evidence thing. So if you bring them in, it's not a guarantee that we'll succeed, but it's definitely, you got definitely a better chance of succeeding with those on your thing than John Murtough and Richard Arnold.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that if they were here, would be having things like being linked to, what's the guy, the Austrian guy?
Ragnick.
No, the player.
Arnautovic.
Yeah, so, stupid things like that, like that just make us look like clowns, like being linked to Arnautovic and then being linked to Rabiot. And then, there was absolutely no control.
Getting Vegas and stuff, like, it's just unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Yeah, because Arnautovic, Vegas, it was all because of Ten Hag, basically. His manager's been like, okay, I know this guy. He's probably called his agents, like, arranged the whole thing. So having people like that, we're no longer going to be making those kind of irrational, spontaneous, pointless transfers, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, the theory going about is that he's going to start to axe some players from the squad. Saudi's interested in quite a few of our players, in Martial, Varane, Sancho, Casemiro, Bruno. I've even seen linked to Saudi, and I think Saudi's the only way you're going to get these guys off the books. Not the majority of them. I think maybe a Sancho would go over there, maybe a Martial. I don't think you see the likes of Bruno Fernandes or even Casemiro.
Did Sancho have the offer in the summer though and turned it down?
Yeah, well, I don't know the specifics about it. You can only really speculate in it, but just from what you see reports-wise, they're the players that have been linked to Saudi Arabia, so maybe there will be moves in January. And if you can move them on, that's obviously a significant portion of wages off the bill. And even if you get rid of if you get rid of Martial, Sancho, and Varane, that's like $1 million a week off your books, which obviously opens it up massively for recruitment and things. So I think it'd be interesting to see how they handle it. I think it's going to be a very, very tough operation going into United and changing this kind of wheel this cog that's been going on for 12 years or whatever, if you can even call it that. So I hope they do really, really well.
It takes time.
Of course, yeah.
But people, like Chivy's mentioned, people wanted the sugar daddy. They wanted the instant hit. Just get the guy in who's got shit tons of money and he just starts chucking money at Mbappe and fucking God knows who else. That's what the majority of online fans wanted. And what they don't realise is there's a better way to do it, but it takes more time and it takes work and it takes an investment and it takes building something and slowly working your way up. Everybody wants that quick hit and that quick fix, which I understand because we've been in the doldrums for the last 12 years and it's been fucking shit. So I understand it. I completely understand it, but that's no longer going to happen like that. We've got to accept that's not happening. This is the next way forward and we've got to be patient with it and it's going to build and build and build. Obviously, if they fucking do the same shit when they're in charge, then we know, okay, this is not going to change, but we need to give it an opportunity.
I'm definitely going to give it an opportunity. I don't know, I find it hard to trust whilst Glazer's still there for the next, 3, 4, 5 years. If Joel Glazer's still there having discussions about this club, I'm not fully optimistic about it, but I hope I'm proven wrong. Should we dive into the press conference quotes then, Sam? Because obviously it's been ongoing as we've been talking, so I imagine it's probably finished by now if it kicks off at 7 o'clock. So it'll be interesting to see what the gaffers said.
So on injuries, he said Rashford's back 100% ready to play. He said Maguire is 100% ready to play, did protocols before and after the game because obviously there was that concussion issue, so they seem to be 100% fit. On Anthony, said I think he had a really good pre-season, has to get himself back into form, hard work and invest in it will come. Maybe try dropping him, like, you know what I mean? Like,
can we just speak about Anthony for a second, because he's even Pellistri when he came on in that Fulham game towards the end, Chive, shown what we want: directness, aggression, just something that Anthony does not offer. He seems to be just very one-way routed, and if that doesn't happen, he'll cut back or he'll slow down an attack. Do you still have hope for Anthony to eventually get to the stage you believe he could have in the first place, or are you starting to doubt him now as a player? Well,
he's obviously training well. So.
I heard that from Ollie though about fucking loads of players. So
he's training well, obviously. So it really doesn't matter what he does on the pitch, according to this manager. Just
Crazy,
train
innit?
well and then you play. So I don't know. Pellistri probably has to train harder than Anthony to get in the team.
I think Pellistri has to come on and score a hat-trick to get in the team over Anthony. I think that's what he has to do.
Like, I don't understand why, you know, like, we're still talking about this now because this guy is still starting. We've all been catfished. And me, number one, because I was his biggest, before we got him, I was like, oh, sign him. I don't care. Pay. I was one of his biggest, cheerleader, And listen, anybody out there, from now on, if we're linked to anyone, I'm not watching YouTube.
Yeah.
The YouTube comps.
In there, mate. Okay, now.
Over. It's done. Like, I really don't understand. I think the manager just has blind faith in Anthony, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe he obviously knows him more than anyone else at Manchester United at the moment. So maybe there's something there that he sees, and he's hoping Anthony can bring. I don't see it. I haven't heard anyone else say they can see anything that this man can bring. And whilst he's willing to give him time, I think his patience I think with the fans, we've exhausted our patience with Anthony because he's too predictable. I've never seen anyone so predictable in my life. Even Antonio Valencia, you knew what he was going to do, but you couldn't stop it because Valencia never caught him. He literally hugged the touchline, and he's swinging it in, or he puts it on the other foot and then passes it. He did two things, literally, and you couldn't stop it. But Anthony does one thing, literally, and he can't even pull it off. So it's like, I don't know what else to do with this guy. Like I don't want to just have blind faith in the manager. I want to be able to hold him accountable to certain things. And if Anthony doesn't start performing, we need to let him know. We need to let the manager know somehow. Like the fans need to come up and speak up about this because and it's such bad luck right now that while all this is happening, Amad Diallo is injured because this would have just been the perfect opportunity for him.
Preach.
But,
I don't think he gets in. I think if Diallo was available, I don't think he gets in over him.
Possibly. He probably wouldn't even get in.
No.
Probably
That's
not.
when I'd start fucking getting pissed off at the manager because he deserves an opportunity.
Honestly, but to be fair, I'm just struggling to find words now. I don't want to waste time on this. I'll pass it to someone else because I don't know what to say about Anthony. I really don't. There's nothing that nobody hasn't said already. We've all said it, and we'll just have to wait and see, really. But yeah.
Sam, on Anthony, when was the last time you watched him in a game where he performed well?
His debut against Arsenal.
Come on.
I'm being serious, but because I can't remember.
Barcelona
was probably but apart from
the fact that I'm struggling to come up with one
exactly that's my point. Yeah. I don't know what we do because it's an £85 million hole that's burning. It's going to go in the same category as your Maguire's, as Sancho at the moment, which is as your kind of your Pogba's and maybe your Lukaku's as well. Well, even worse than them, to be honest. It might go down arguably as one of our worst signings ever. And that for me is on the manager because he was pushing for him. He was really, really pushing for him, demanded it, spent a big chunk of money. Look at how much what other teams have spent in comparison to that.
That's why we need that structure above Ten Hag to tell him we ain't spending 85 million on this guy. I know you want him, but we've got options. Like, how much was Jeremy Doku City brought in? How much was he?
Oh man, he's unbelievable. By the way,
how much
he is unbelievable.
Like 40 million?
Not much, 40. Yeah, I think it was.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
what
and he was sat there. Was it Ren? Lawrence?
Doku. It was. I don't know. Yeah, team in League One. I can't remember what team it was.
He was sat there for 40 million, and he's a winger who does exactly what you want in a winger, and he's destroying teams. You save half the fucking money that you spent on Anthony. Just go and get, like, if we had a decent scouting, a decent structure, we'd have identified him and go, right, he's going to fit into this team, go get him. But no, you could go to Ten Hag and just be like, look, we're not spending 85 million on this guy who we've not scouted well, we've not done any research into him, we don't know him. I know you know him, you think he's going to work, but we need to do like scouting and research. We've got a list of these players that you want these attributes. This is the list of players we've researched, scouted, been to see several times. We've contacted the agents. He wants to move. The clubs are already, and they've set it all up, ready to go. That's what we need instead of Ten Hag going, no, I want him in. It's stupid.
Didn't Pep publicly congratulate, is it Tiki Bekistan, whatever his name is, can't remember his second name. He said it at the press conference, didn't he? He was like, I've got to thank him for Doku, with the players that he's analysed there and brought in. It's unbelievable.
Look at Brighton. Like, no one in the entire world had heard of Karu Matoma before came there. They went out, got him, was it less than $1 million they got him for?
2 million quid it was, so it's 40 times what Anthony's...
£2 million, no one knew it, and he's probably one of the best wingers in the league at the minute.
Yeah.
Like, I rest my case.
He's not got a single goal or an assist, Anthony, this season. Not a single one. And like 13 starts.
What? Here's the thing. I don't care if he doesn't score or assist. Do you understand? He can assist the assist. I'm happy with that. He can. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like he can, help him build up play.
Be involved. Be involved.
Yeah, he could assist the assist. I'm fine with that. Maybe other people just want to start pad and all that. I don't care. I'm okay with that. Just play as a team. Like, man, like, I don't know.
The attacking unit looks off, doesn't it, at the moment? If you look at, I don't see Bruno supplying Højlund. I don't see Anthony or Rashford supplying him. I see him being very selfish at times, not making the right decisions. It just looks so disconnected.
It's because they don't know. Yeah, well, they don't know where they are. Like, it's almost like Man City now. They can play that football in their sleep, literally. Yeah. When Arsenal played Newcastle, I think it was. I watched like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the game. I was doing some other stuff. But on both sides of both Arsenal and Newcastle, I could see like their players had complete chemistry. Like, and everybody.
Chivy, Newcastle's C team play exactly the same as their A team, and they smashed us.
Chemistry. They knew everything. Like, literally, both sides. I'm watching. I'm like, wow. Like, I don't remember seeing this at United this season, because everybody know what role they're supposed to play. They know where this person's going to be, that person. We know what play we're doing, but like at United, I think
all our forwards play for themselves first and the team second. Rashford, because last season we just relied on Rashford to score our goals, so he took it upon himself. Like, the only way we win games is if I score. And I think he still got that mentality because he didn't have a recognised striker in front of him. Well, he had Vegas, but he don't count. And then Bruno, when he came in, he was the reason we got Champions League football, because he basically took it upon himself to score all the goals and get us there. So I think these players are stuck in this mentality where they're like, I have to win this game for us, rather than I need to be part of this team to help the team win and do what's best for the team. And now they've got a recognised striker in Højlund, and you look at the guy, he's got everything. He's in the right position. He makes correct runs. His finishing is on point, but he's getting nothing. He's getting no service whatsoever. And the guy is struggling out there. Like, it's like you've chucked him off the boat and not even bothered to throw him a line. And you just expected him to get back on the boat. And you're just like, he's not.
Swimming against the current at the moment. Really is swimming against the current. I want to read out just a couple of comments. Simon Davis says, as long as he works hard. I think that's in relation to Anthony. Anonymous Mango's in the chat. Pick up the legend. Not seen you for a while. Where have you been at? He's saying, my 11 versus Copenhagen, Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Reguilon, Amrabat, Mount, Fernandes, Pellistri, Højlund, and Rashford. It's not a bad team, I don't think.
It's not happening.
We'll go with
That's not happening.
No one drags back, in my opinion. Is that all right? I think he's alluding to our wingers, because obviously City, when they get to a certain, the touchline, square it straight away. When do we ever see a goal like that? I can't remember the last time we squared it. Osramani says, any talk with James from the Muppeteers? Well, I think we mentioned at the start on Thursday. Is he on?
Thursday is coming on.
Yeah, so we definitely want to ask him about that Mount situation that he was alluding to before. Think Maguire has been solid when called upon this season, in my opinion. Anthony's become what Maguire was to us last season. And then Simon's saying harmony as well. Yeah, have we got any more? Because we spoke about Anthony for quite long.
Ten Hag, the players made their efforts, but there could always be more. Fans expect the highest standards. We have these high expectations, and when you're not playing, you still have to win. On Rasmus Højlund, he works hard, wants to improve. I'm sure he'll only get better. On United getting back to their best, getting more to our best 11, getting routines into teams. So far, we've had to change a lot. Midfield balance is also not there. It's good to see that he recognises that. I'm sure that once we get there, we'll play better. And then on Højlund, the difficulties in creating chances for him, I understand. We speak about it, but he's still a young player. He's smart, understands the situation, and he wants to score goals and is keen and working very hard in training. I'm sick of that line already. Fucking working hard in training. Bullshit. And then the really shit news I've just seen. Erik ten Hag doesn't expect to have Lisandro or Casemiro available before Christmas.
Yeah, that's the
I didn't. I was in my head. I was thinking January.
Yeah, it's Lisandro's the big one for me. That's a massive one for me. I think it's a huge miss for this team. Casemiro, we kind of saw, he was a little bit off it, so he's missed. Don't get me wrong, he's an important player, but I don't know. Lisandro's just the one for me. I'm like, out for that. To have him out for so long at the end of last season, and then get him back, and then have him out for another 6 months, it's just like, fuck's sake, man. Like,
well, you see, the difference with last season was that we played differently. So even when he was out, and we had Luke Shaw and Lindelof, they kept we kept quite a few clean sheets as well.
Yeah, but you had Shaw as that progressive player. That's why it worked, because he came in as a left-footed, open more lanes and stuff. It's just more comfortable. But because we don't have him as well, it's like, fuck's sake.
Final comments. I've had enough of this line. Marcus Rashford committed to Man United. He's investing hard, working, training. Fucking just shut up. So Ericsson is also in the press conference. He said entitled to feel like they're favourites, referring to the Copenhagen players, because apparently Copenhagen said they're favourites for this tie. Entitled to feel like they're favourites, but we'll go into the game in an aiming to win. And Ericsson also said the only thing for us is 3 points. We need to put ourselves in a position to go through. I expect a special atmosphere, but 100 times better than Old Trafford. Not sure about that. I think their manager said their atmosphere is 100 times better than Old Trafford. So
it's not 100 times better, but they have got good fans. I was listening to actually Andy Mitten on Talking Devils before, speaking about when he's been away to Copenhagen and stuff like that, and he said the fans are very, very vocal. So I think the atmosphere is going to be tense. They've obviously watched the first game, like most fans, and think they've got a fucking good chance, and they have every right to believe that, because the first half they play better football than us. 100%.
If anybody thinks that we're going to turn up and just win, I don't know what you're thinking. This is Copenhagen. Like, they're not a massive team, but if anything, they're used to winning. Like, they have a system that they play, and they cut us up easy. Didn't they hit the bar in the first 10 minutes?
Yeah, that Chore, their left winger Chore, was just destroying us on that left-hand side.
There's a bit of news on Mainu as well. Apparently, he's going to play for the under-19s on Wednesday afternoon, so you probably won't see him in the Champions League game. So,
I get he's a kid, and I get they don't want to rush him back. I completely understand it, and maybe it's just me as a fan being impatient. But I need to see him in that midfield. I need to. Amrabat, for me, people might disagree, hasn't lived up to expectations. He's been okay, but he looks a little bit slow to me. Kobbie Mainoo, when I saw him in pre-season, it's like, what he brings is exactly what I want in a midfielder.
Well, guys, why don't you ever think, why is that the case? That we've seen Amrabat playing really, really well for Fiorentina in the World Cup, comes to Man United, he's shit. Casemiro played really well last season. This season, he's crap. It just doesn't happen. It's the system. It's not the players. I keep saying this. It's not the players. I don't care who you bring back. You can bring Kante or Yaya Toure or whoever. It's not going to work if we keep doing this system. You don't just become shit overnight.
I think there's, to be honest, there's a couple of reasons why it's not. I think the fact that international football, look at how good he was for Morocco. International football isn't Premier League football. The tempo is fucking miles different, and the competition is
you get much more time on the ball in international football.
And then for Fiorentina, when you're in Europe, not nowhere near as much pressure. They weren't exactly top of the league. He was their best player, but they weren't like mid-table team, something like that. So coming to United, the expectation, the pressure, and the performances have to be better. And it's just.
Do you think if Rodri joined our team now, he'd be the same Rodri at Man City?
No, but I think you'd see a difference. I think you'd see a difference, definitely.
You don't think he'd be exposed?
I think he would be good for 6 months, and then he'd get dragged down. Because I think every player that comes into United gets dragged down. Like, give it till February, and Højlund will start stinking the joint up if this carries on.
You don't think he'll be exposed like the way these guys are being exposed?
Anyway, sorry.
No, I'm just saying you don't think Rodri will look as exposed as Casemiro has looked exposed, as Amrabat has looked exposed in that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a product of a number of things. Him coming into an environment as well where a lot of players are injured and you haven't got a consistent partnership in that midfield. That's obviously not going to help. You don't really know the players. He's just come into a team where it's like, bang, he's out, you're starting at left back. You know what I mean? You're starting here. It's like, okay, like, can I settle in first? You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying about the system. I know what you mean. It's very flaky and it's very open in a lot of games.
I'm just saying, because it's just like people don't just become shit overnight. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It seems to be a malaise. I don't think it's just a tactical system. I think the fact that the ownership thing is dragged on so long. I think the outside things that have happened outside the squad with Sancho, with Anthony, with Greenwood. Injuries as well. Like, you got, how many injuries did we have at one point? It was like 8 players or something out ridiculous.
Oh, 13.
Yeah, 13 players. Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? There's so much stuff going on, and then plus a new tactical system that isn't working on top of that. It's just so much measure of shit all together at the same time. Dortmund have beat Newcastle 2-0, by the way.
Yeah. But the manager, as explained there in the press conference, he recognises that the midfield balance is off. But when you set up for a new kind of tactical game and you're trying to tweak things and stuff, it doesn't help with these injuries. So then do you revert back to how you went last year and go back? Or do you kind of stick with what you do and try to implement this game? It's tricky, isn't it? Because I can see why people say, just go back to what you was doing last year. So he's going to tell all the players that he's been prepping them for in pre-season, like, this is the way we're going to play now. Oh, now, we're going back to last year.
I think you have to stem the bleeding somewhat. Like, because we are, like, a trauma patient at the minute. We're bleeding all over the floor. Like, there's nothing being done. And the doctor's insisting that, no, it's going to stop bleeding in a minute. It's going to stop bleeding. And it's just continuing to drip on the floor. And so many people are screaming out, like, put some fucking gauze on it. Like, do something just to stop this. And I think with the amount of injuries that we've got going on, I think Ten Hag might be served of, like, going back to that system until we get these players back. Once we start getting the majority of these players back, you can start then trying to implement this style again and start trying to work it out, because at the minute you don't have the players for it. Maguire, Evans, as good at, well, not as good, but as all right as they had been, it isn't the most progressive, terrifying centre-back partnership in the world, is it? Like, let's get it right. The midfield balance is off, like Ten Hag has said. So I think you have to change something, but he seems very stubborn and very stuck on wanting to play this system, despite the fact that the majority of players that he wants to use in this system aren't available. That's the truth.
I mean, I think what baffles me is that when he said the thing about Ajax, like, he's not going to play the Ajax system, kind of implied that he's not playing that system because he doesn't have the players to fit that system. Well, the style he's trying to play now, I don't think he has to, the players don't look like they're the right players for this new system that he's trying to play right now. I don't see any player on our team that looks like they're enjoying playing football in this system at the moment. None of them look like they're having a good time. It's always it's faces, it's just sad faces. Everyone's, every time someone has the ball, he has his hands out, like, when you have the ball and then they're like, where are you? Like, they're opening their arms.
Even when we win, it's like, oh, thank God for that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, yeah, we've won. It's like, oh, thank God we've managed to do something.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so even this style that he wants to implement, the players it doesn't look like the players are the right fit for this new system. So what system works. Like, why not just? But I understand why he's trying to. He just wants to win games, and I think he's just trying to spam goals in. I don't know what it is. Whatever madness is happening, I just hope that he just sorts himself out, because we can't afford to start looking for a new manager all of a sudden. Like, he needs to. I need him to recognize what's going on and fix it, because.
Well,
go on, yeah.
Sorry, I was just saying, I think you guys are asking for patience, right, with the new people that could potentially be coming in, with that Jean Claude and the other Paul Mitchell coming in. It's going to take time. These things are going to happen. You look at Liverpool's season when they had that many injuries out. They can't play that Klopp style. They got battered loads of times every time they tried to do that. Klopp's not going to change his style and his philosophy just because the injuries are out. You have to at least keep trying it. Maybe that's a bit naive. Maybe that's a little bit stupid, and we've lost some games because of it. But I fully believe when we have everybody fit, playing a consistent run of games, by the way, not just one or two, I think it will work. I think it will come. And maybe that's blind naivety, maybe that's stupid, but I trust this manager, because what he did last year with the players at his disposal, and even in games tactically, he was beating teams like that. He did it in the Manchester derby, did it in the Liverpool game, tweaked it numerous times. So I believe he's tactically flexible enough to do it. He hasn't shown this year. I think he struggled with certain options, and he struggled with the midfield, and players being out of form as well, doesn't it? Like Marcus Rashford last season, 30 goals. He's got 2 goals in 6 months, which obviously doesn't help either. Like the football he's going for, if you look at the traits our players have in Rashford, Bruno, Mount, all these kind of guys, it's high press, transitional football. That is what they're good at. But for whatever reason, like you said, Chive, they just don't look like they're enjoying it, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a few cogs that are off. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to explain, to be honest, because I've done a lot of analysis on games, and I'm kind of scratching my head thinking, why is this not working? Why is Mount? What's going on with Mount? Like,
we saw the two sides last night in the Spurs game of a manager stubbornly sticking to his philosophy with Postecoglou. Like, he's obviously had a fantastic start with Spurs and absolutely blown him away with the way he plays, high line, pushing up, flew forward attack. And he stuck to that system, even though he was 2 men down. He had 9 men on the pitch. And you saw Chelsea just tore them apart repeatedly, because even with 9 men, they were putting the high line on the halfway line. And he said afterwards, he was like, I don't care. He said, I could have 4 people on the pitch. I'm still going to play this way. So this is how, like, the manager's mentality. Like, they have a style of play, and they ain't going to change it. And they're just going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And they'll either get fired or it will click and work. If you look at some of our games this season, in first 45, whenever it is, when we've seen this working, and we've won the ball high up. I mean, I'd love to see the actual stats on it, to how many we've converted, because we don't convert chances. No. We really, really don't. So the actual tactic in itself is working. The players just aren't putting the fucking ball in the back of the net. That's the thing. So if the players aren't in form, and that's everyone, not just 1 or 2, it's hard. I know it's the manager's job to get a tune out of the players, but we've seen this before from him. Marcus is like that. Can be really, really good, top of the game, and then deflated confidence, can't finish his fucking dinner. So, yeah, I suppose, I don't know. It's a lot of questions to be asked. And it starts with the game tomorrow, doesn't it? Against Copenhagen, because if we lose tomorrow, we're out of the Champions League, and I don't even know if we're going to the Europa. Is it 3rd place in the group stage? You go into the Europa League? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you not go into, if you finish 4th, do you not go into Europa Conference?
No, I think you go to conference when you drop from Europa.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe that's the plan. Maybe we drop into Europa, we get knocked out of Europa, and drop into the fucking conference. Yeah,
I think 4th finish, I think you're out. Like, that's it.
If we're going out, let's finish 4th. I don't want Europa. I don't.
You don't want the final piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, the corner piece, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Oh god.
Fucking hell.
That's what they said when we won the what cup was it? Was it when we won the Europa, they were like, final piece to the puzzle. We've won everything. Like, come on, guys, we need to go for that conference. Man. We need to win.
We also haven't got a fucking Audi Cup either. Do we want to add that piece to the puzzle? Like,
Chivy, you'll remember this. Do you remember when we took ourselves out the FA Cup one year and went to play in that Intertoto Cup? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
Under Fergie. It's like one year Fergie was like right, we're not gonna enter the FA Cup this year. And we went to play in this like international cup, like Intertoto Cup, I think it was called, in South America. Yeah, it was fucking bizarre.
Did we win it?
No.
Or did we not win it?
No.
Well, that's another piece that we
We
need to
probably
answer.
just played like the kids, because Fergie used to do that a lot. Like, do you remember the days when we'd qualify, when we in Champions League, like we'd qualify early, right? And then our last couple of games, that's when he played like Kieran Richardson and like Chris Eagle.
Yeah.
And that's why people like that have Champions League
medals.
caps.
It's why people like that have fucking Premier League winners medals, mate. Like,
Okay,
if you look at,
do you remember? He'd play like the last two Champions League games, like with Fenerbahce and all that kind of crap. Like Fergie always did that religiously. Like once we qualify, he would give the young ones like a running games. Now we're struggling to like hold on to second place in the group stage. It's crazy.
Federico Makeda came on, scored 1 goal to win us a league, and then never got heard from again.
Yeah,
like just disappeared into
he
obscurity.
played the second game and scored. He played against Sunderland.
Yeah, but after that season,
he's gone.
Just gone.
Yeah,
that was it. But you know what I'm saying? You know what? Actually, now because we got made fun of for supporting United. Those of us that are not from Manchester, they were like, "Oh, you're glory supporters" and all that. For the young Manchester United fans now, they're gonna have to earn their.
Oh yeah.
Players, because there's no glory like my nephew, right? When he was growing up, I was, Man United and all that. And recently, like,
now you're like, sorry, I'm sorry.
Nah, like he doesn't say anything, and then there's a picture of him like in a Liverpool jersey. I was like, what is going on?
Get that shit off him now. Get that off him.
But then what am I gonna tell him?
Get it off. Take it off, or I'll beat you.
Yeah, there's no words.
Like, why should he? Like, how should he?
Yeah, that's what you want to find. Get to the root of the problem. For how has this happened, and then we can address the rest of it.
Speak to his parents. How have they allowed this to happen?
Kids growing up. We see more and more kids growing up now with City shirts. That's the issue.
Yeah.
They're looking at they got to see Haaland and Prime, and they're like, oh yeah,
that's
this is amazing.
Like, there's no player like because for me it was things like like the Beckhams, those kind of things. Like there was a player you could actually idolize and like. Look up to like who's there at United now?
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
Johnny Evans, former star Johnny Evans.
Has he won Did he win a title, Johnny Evans, under 30?
Yeah. Do you think anyone's got a Johnny Evans shirt?
No.
How many shirts do you reckon?
Definitely not.
Used to guess. He's got to have sold one in the mega store. Johnny Evans, surely.
100%. Come on, Northern Irish fans. Hell yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the only demographic that have bought them shirts. Just Northern Ireland, yeah. And his wife, probably, because she works at United, doesn't she?
Do you reckon anybody's got a Tom Heaton shirt?
That's what I mean. There'd be some quirky geezers out there, he's in northern quarters, kind of.
Nothing against Tom Heaton. I'm sure he's a lovely lad and a nice guy.
Yeah.
But there's no way anybody's got a Tom Heaton goalkeeper jersey.
I don't think fucking it. Anyone's buying a shirt this year.
No one's buying like a goalie jersey now. It's probably like kids and stuff like that.
Yeah. I always ask him how you do it. If I'm at a relative's or whatever it is, and there's a kid wearing a goalkeeper, I'll be like, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Why is he in a goalkeeper jersey? Get him a fucking."
Are your parents hitting you? Are they doing it?
Talk to me. Jesus Christ. Just a joke, people. Right, we're going down a fucking massive rabbit hole. And I want to bring it back slightly. I'm going to read out some comments, and then we can kind of head off because we've been live for 50 minutes. Any word on when Martinez and Shaw are expected back from injury? We touched on Martinez. Shaw should be back in the next couple of weeks. I think end of November-ish. Simon saying the fans are what got United over the line last game, singing constantly. Yeah, the big banner as well. They spoken about, didn't they? Yeah, absolutely. Best away fans in the league. Unbelievable. Is there any updates on when we can expect Ineos proposal to be officially accepted, announced, and for Sir Jim and his sports team to begin work effectively within the next few weeks? I think Muppeteers put that on Twitter. Very soon.
We'll ask James on Thursday, see if he can give us an idea.
Yeah. Apparently, we was looking at Equiciel Palacios to come in and replace Casemiro next summer. It could be Paper Talk. And then Mainu is going to slot in the number 6 role, hopefully. We can ease him over the remainder of the season and have him starting there next season. Mainu, Mount, and Bruno as the midfield for next season, says Anonymous Mango. Yeah, if you haven't left a like on the video for us already, please do subscribe to the channel as well. If you're new to this channel, you just found us, you're like, what the fuck's going on here? This is the news show and a press conference that we've been discussing. We'll have the pre-match build-up and a live review of the Copenhagen game tomorrow night, so make sure you come and join us for that. James from the Muppeteers on Thursday with lots of information about Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, so definitely don't miss that as well. And then press conference on Friday and loads of shit coming up. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of your week if you can, guys. Hopefully United don't ruin it midweek against Copenhagen. And we'll see you for the pre-match build-up tomorrow, unless anything breaks in between. Yeah, see you guys in the next one.
Peace.